This tiny pocket-sized 3D scanner claims it can scan almost anything, from a rubber duck to a skid steer tire, a human face, or even the engine bay of a questionable project car. Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dan, and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the all-new, extremely impressive and powerful Creality Pika 3D scanner. I also want to quickly note I'm not being paid to make this video. Creality simply sent me the Pika and asked me to make a review video. All thoughts and opinions are my own. So to jump right into it, once you open the box, there is a charging USB Type-C cable, a tripod mount, 6 reflective marker towers, 2 rechargeable 18650 batteries that have a capacity of 3350 milliamp hours, 2 NIR lens filters, and the Creality Pika 3D scanner. Oh, and a small silica gel packet. And inside the smaller box, it contains a carrying case, the instruction manuals, reflective markers, a lens cleaning wipe, a wrist strap, and a turntable. And after removing the foam inside the box, the calibration board is inside of a nice black pouch. Now, if we take a look at the Pika itself, on the front, it has 2 3D scanning cameras, a DOE projector, an emitter for 7 parallel blue lasers, an RGB camera, 4 infrared supplementary lights, and 4 blue and white fill lights. The top of the scanner has the power and scan button. On the side, there is a switch for USB and Wi-Fi, and then right below it, there is a battery compartment panel. The scanner itself weighs 260 grams. Dimensionally, it's 100 millimeters by 60 millimeters by 35 millimeters. It can literally fit into your pocket. On the back of the scanner, there is a 3-inch HD touchscreen. And last but definitely not least, this scanner costs $629. To get started with the Pika, I connected the USB cable directly into my computer and then the other end into the scanner. After opening Creality Scan on my computer, I clicked the calibration button and then entered the information for my calibration board. This is a very simple process and you basically watch your screen as you're performing the scanning action in front of you. Mine does look a little sloppy, but it calibrated just fine. So to get into the scanning, I wanted to try the blue laser mode on a rubber duck. I randomly placed reflective markers onto the turntable and then put the rubber duck directly in the center. I started the scan by pressing the play button on the top. This entire scan took maybe 2 minutes, and I was basically just wiggling the scanner back and forth so that the lasers would fully hit all of the parts of the object while I was spinning the turntable. You have to make sure to keep at least 4 markers in the field of view at all times, and the slider on the left-hand side of the screen indicates if you need to move closer or further away. And once the model turns blue, you're good to go. I clicked finish on the screen and then selected the flat surface that was scanned and deleted it. The scan doesn't look half bad, but there are multiple areas that are open because I wasn't able to scan them since they were in overhangs or blind spots. In order to fix this, I flipped the duck onto its side so that the open areas are visible. I then started another scan and scanned the entire duck until it was blue once again. I wasn't too particular about how perfect this was since I only needed a few areas. I then finished the scan and flipped the duck over again so that I could scan the other side. Once everything was done, I was able to click the fusion button and change the resolution to 0.1 millimeters. Then I clicked the alignment button and used the feature alignment automatic mode. This automatically aligns all of the scans by the features of the model and took less than a minute. I clicked the meshing button at the top and the final mesh that was generated looked pretty good, but there were some small holes. I used the hole filling button to automatically fill small holes and voila, it was a finished model. But I wanted to see how accurate this really was. So I exported the file and then 3D printed it on my Creality K2. It's a little hard to see since the 3D print is white and the rubber duck is colorful. The 3D print looks almost identical to the rubber duck. I did also have to make the bottom of it flat so that it would print much easier. Even though this is a really simple test, it's really cool to see that I can scan something, export the model, and then print it. All in about an hour. Moving along, I wanted to test the color mapping feature of this 3D scanner. And I decided to scan this owl statue since it was pretty complex and had really cool colors. I used the exact same setup as the rubber duck, but my turntable was a little too small for this owl, so I grabbed a dinner plate and then decorated it with the reflective markers. On Creality Scan, I set the scan mode to global marker and then toggled the color mapping to on. I started the scan and scanned the entire surface of the turntable dinner plate with the owl on it. After only a minute of scanning, I clicked finish and then swapped the scan mode back to point cloud and started another scan. This really only took about 2 minutes, if that. Once the scanning was finished, I removed the base in Creality Scan and then followed the same steps as I did with the duck. I fused the scan, made a mesh of it, and then filled the small holes. After all of this, I was then able to click color mapping at the top. The finished color mapped model looks exactly like the real life physical model. It has all of the fine details and is really impressive. Even zooming in, you can see all of the small details. The areas where I did have to fill the holes can be seen with the color mapping issues, but overall, this is a really great scan. I told my buddy Wes that I got this 3D scanner and he immediately asked me if I could scan his face. And I said, yeah, I'll scan your face, man. Now, I wasn't scanning with the blue lasers, instead I was using the infrared mode. I began slowly scanning his face, making sure to keep the scanner at the optimal distance. After 2 to 3 minutes of this, I was pretty much done. I then exported the file to my PC and began the fusion and meshing process. Now, I failed to properly capture his entire face and was missing an entire hole from his chin, but that's okay. He said face, not head. The mesh data looks great. Since it's infrared mode, it also captures the color mapping data, which can be enabled to show the actual color data of the model. Once enabled, the scan looks pretty realistic and kinda eerie. Another nice thing about this scanner is that anything it scans is dimensionally accurate. The scan is identical to his real head. I then exported the data and compared it to my buddy Kev's head that I have in Blender. And as you can see, they're pretty much the same size. My collection of heads is growing. Next, I wanted to see how well this could scan my car's engine. Because what's the point of a 3D scanner if you can't scan your early 2000s trash JDM beater car? Quite the looker, huh? I popped the hood and then sporadically started placing the reflectors all over the engine's plenum, randomly and without proper alignment. Once I thought it looked good, I busted out the scanner and switched it to Wi-Fi mode. I connected this to my laptop with Creality Scan open, set it to blue line laser mode, and started to scan the entire engine bay. It was a bit tricky, but it managed to scan the plenum and the strut bar that goes over top of it just fine. The finished scan looks great. I processed the model and the plenum model seems pretty accurate. It even measures to the proper size as well. I don't really have an application for this scan, but I just wanted to see how well this 3D scanner would handle scanning the engine bay of a car. And with it being so small and compact, it worked pretty well. But wait, you're probably asking yourself, can it also scan exterior car parts? Well, as you can see, my princess lost her driver's side finisher panel, but not the passenger side. And these cost like $400, which is like 2/3 the price of this scanner. So I thought to myself, why not just scan it and make a new one? So I slapped on some reflective markers, big and small, sporadically around the panel, roof, window, and connective areas. I used the same exact scanning setup that I did for the engine bay and then started scanning the panel on the passenger side of the car. My computer apparently wasn't screen recording the passenger or driver side, but I do have the video of me scanning it myself. After about 5 minutes of scanning, the result looked great. I had no issues with this and it scanned all of the parts that I needed. I was happy with it and then moved on to the driver side that's missing the panel. This had much more curvature and geometry than the passenger side since it's literally missing a body panel. The scanner handled this and the edge of the window with ease. I individually cleaned both of the models up and then made a solid mesh of both of them. I exported both meshes and then put them into Blender. You can see that when I mirror the passenger side panel, it almost perfectly aligns with the scan of the missing panel on the driver side. This will take a while to align and remodel to make a printable part, but I just wanted to show that this proof of concept is possible with the 3D scanner. Next, I wanted to scan the interior of a car and see how well it would perform. I changed the settings to normal, the size to large, and the tracking mode to texture. These scans can be performed really quickly, and I scanned the entire passenger side dash of this truck in less than a minute. The final mesh looks pretty good. It has all of the rough texturing that the dash has and shows the geometry of it really well. It did mess up on the vents a little bit though. Without using markers and doing it over Wi-Fi, I'd say that it was a pretty solid test. But since this was scanned using the infrared camera, it also has the color mapping data from the scan. And after enabling it, the color map looks incredible. The textured surface is very visible, the details look great, and the letters are very legible. And lastly, I wanted to see if it would be able to scan the tire on my skid steer. I used the same exact settings that I did on the truck's interior dash. I began the scan and literally in less than 3 minutes, I was pretty much done. I did miss a few areas, but I did this just to prove how easy and fast you could scan large objects. I exported the scan file to my computer and made this mesh. The features are very visible and dimensionally it's accurate to the physical wheel and tire. You can see all of the tread, the letters, and the symbols. The scan has color mapping data as well, and when this is toggled on, it's pretty dope. Some areas look strange because the hole filling kind of messed up the color data, but overall this was a really cool scan. I think this came out pretty decent. Alrighty everyone, in conclusion, I can safely say that I love this scanner. It's simple and easy to use, scans extremely fast with blue laser and infrared, and I had this out of the box and scanning literally within minutes. I've connected it with Wi-Fi and USB to my phone, laptop, and computer, and everything worked phenomenal. The scans themselves are dimensionally accurate, they look great, and the color mapping feature is awesome. I really like the fact that this has removable batteries that can be recharged with Type-C connectors as well. It's light, compact, and you can fit this in your pocket and take it with you wherever you want to go. And for $630, this is an absolutely insane price. I can literally scan anything that I want whenever I want with this scanner. I highly recommend this. I will definitely be using the scanner for everything that I have to scan going forward. I want to say thank you to Creality for sending me out this scanner. It has been a blast to work with. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. The link for the scanner will be in the description below, and I'll see you in the next one.